Have you ever wondered how researchers come up with those brilliant, totally game-changing ideas? It's one of the biggest mysteries out there in science and academia. Well, today, we're going to crack that case. We're going on a mission to figure it all out. Let's get right into it. First things first, you can just forget that classic image of a scientist shouting, "Eureka!" in some lab. The truth is, brilliant ideas are rarely just found by accident, they're hunted. It's a systematic search for what's missing, kind of like a clue hunt in the huge landscape of everything we already know. Okay, so every good investigation starts with one single, super crucial concept, the research gap. This is our missing piece of evidence. You can think of it as the one clue that could solve the entire mystery for us. So what exactly is a research gap? Well, it's not a mistake or some error in an old study. Nope, it's simply an empty space on the map of what we know. It's a question nobody has really answered yet, or maybe a perspective that just hasn't been explored. Honestly, it's where the real adventure begins. And this quote, this really represents a crucial shift in how you should think about it. Finding a gap isn't a setback, it's a massive opportunity. It's like the very first signpost pointing you toward a discovery that nobody else has made. It's basically an invitation to contribute something totally new. Now, these missing pieces don't just appear out of thin air. They get created when the world changes. A new technology like AI just explodes onto the scene, creating a whole new territory to explore. Or maybe we realize that past studies were kind of limited, maybe only looking at one specific culture. As our world evolves, new questions just naturally pop up, revealing all of the gaps in our knowledge. All right, now that we know what a gap is, we need to learn how to actually profile the clues. Any good knowledge detective knows there are 4 main categories of these missing pieces to look out for. So, we're about to profile 4 really distinct types of clues, and understanding each one is absolutely key because they all offer a different path toward a breakthrough discovery. Let's start examining the evidence. Our first clue is the most straightforward one, the knowledge gap. This is that classic case of we just don't know yet. For example, we've got thousands of studies on how social media affects teenagers, right? But what about their grandparents? That one simple question reveals a huge, totally unexplored area. Sometimes the mystery isn't what we're studying, but how we're studying it. A methodological gap means our detective tools are basically outdated. We might be asking people about forgiveness on a survey, but what if we could actually measure the physiological changes that happen when someone truly forgives? See? That requires a new tool, a whole new method. This brings us to a huge issue in science, the data gap. So many of our so-called universal truths about human psychology are based on a teeny tiny slice of humanity, mostly from Western countries. What about everyone else? Their voices and their experiences are just missing from the data. And finally, we've got the theoretical gap. Think of theories as the maps we use to navigate the world. But what happens when we discover a whole new continent, like the internet? Our old maps might not work anymore. Theories that explain how we form our identities face-to-face, they don't quite capture how we do it in online communities. The map itself needs an update. So, finding your clue, the gap, that's really only the beginning. A detective can't just find a piece of evidence and call it a day. They have to build a case around it. This next step is all about turning that gap into a formal, solvable research question. The very first step is writing what's called a problem statement. This is where you formally declare the mystery. It's just a clear sentence that says, here's the gap and here is why it matters, and that focuses your entire investigation on one sharp, clear objective. This whole process creates a really logical chain of reasoning. You start with a gap you've discovered, you frame it as a clear problem, and then you forge that problem into a specific answerable question. It's the most direct path from having a hunch to launching a full-blown investigation. And just look at the difference this process makes. You start with a big, broad question on the left, but a good investigation needs a specific, testable prediction, a hypothesis. The statement over on the right isn't just a question. It's a claim you can actually go out and test with real data. And that is how you get real answers. So why do we care so much about this whole process? Well, because this hunt for gaps isn't just some academic exercise. It is the fundamental engine that drives all scientific progress and innovation forward. Seriously. Finding a gap is what separates truly original work from just, repeating what's already been done. It's what gets projects funded. It guarantees your work is actually relevant. And ultimately, it's the engine that pushes the boundaries of our understanding and leads to genuine innovation. And this really gets to the heart of it all. The hunt for what's missing, for that empty space on the map, it isn't just the start of a research project. It's the start of all meaningful discovery. It's where real impact begins. So I'll leave you with a challenge. Start looking at the world like a knowledge detective. Be curious about all the unanswered questions and the missing voices out there, because the next great discovery is waiting in a gap somewhere. The only question is, what missing piece will you find?